IVM.
This is Audio Gyan, and I am your host Kedar Nimkar. Welcome to a deep dive into the minds of luminaries from the Indian creative world. Welcome to a brand new series of Audio Gyan, Where Are the Designers? It's a 12-part series featuring few of the top influential design leaders in India, talking about the process of hiring, challenges in finding and retaining talent, and some tips for young designers to make a cut after they apply. I'm so happy and proud to introduce my co-host for this series, Abhineet Tiwari. He is a designer at Gojek. Hey, Abhineet.
Hey Kedar,
Welcome back.
happy to be back again.
How's it going?
I've been having a lot of fun in these conversations and looking forward to another fun conversation today.
Yeah.
I just love all the stories. Although we are supposed to talk about where are the designers, but I love all the other stories that are coming in.
Yeah. And this is also the first time, as I said in the last recording, is that I generally want to keep it a bit serious, which is Gyan types. But yeah, I mean, there's a rapid fire round which I have introduced new, and thanks to you for putting some questions together, because there are certain nuances which you might know about the person. And today we have Fatima Raja with us on AudioGAN. She's a group design head at Gojek, handling food and entertainment. And guess your association with her is since Left Shift days. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. She's always filling pages, an obsessive talker, epitome of OCD, and that's how she describes herself on Medium. Welcome, Fatima, to AudioGAN. And yeah, looking forward to hearing your thoughts on Where Are the Designers.
Thank you, Kedar, for having me. Thank you, Abhineet, for having me. I'm super excited to be here today and have a nice conversation around where are the designers. Yeah.
All right, thanks. And you are slightly worried because Abhineet, you report to Abhineet?
Technically,
No.
now I don't.
No.
But yeah, I think for the longest time in my life, my entire design career, I've reported to him and I'm like, I am where I am. I think he's been there throughout the journey and also it's because of him. So yeah, a little bit obviously nervous, but yeah, more excited than nervous.
Awesome. And you want to just give us a background of how you met Abhineet in Left Shift?
Yeah, totally. I think I can probably start with that. So I was, after my design college, I was back in Ahmedabad trying to set up like this small business with my sister, which was all about baby soft furnishing and baby nursery using Indian artisan techniques and Scandinavian designs. And so that's what I was trying to set up. But while I was exploring textiles, I think my interest in what UI UX is, like this question came to my head because I was seeing a lot of articles popping here and there, and I was looking at what people are doing in India, what they have done. And obviously, as someone who went to college in Pune, I was like a bit NH7 Weekender fan, and I was looking up and I saw Left Shift website. And I saw that they had done an event app for them. And I think I was like, oh, this looks like a company that works on cool briefs. Let me probably try and apply. So I applied at Left Shift. And yeah, Abhineet and I got on a call, an interview of some sort where I'm not sure if he was asking me more questions or I was asking him more questions. But obsessive talker, as you've heard before. But yeah, it was a fun chat. I remember precisely it was at 12 a.m.
Really?
It was a fun, yeah, that was Abhineet's normal working hours. So yeah, I had that chat with Abhineet. Then I spoke to Sudhanshu, who was a founder at Left Shift. And yeah, he told me a bunch of interesting briefs that they were working on. And yeah, it was pretty exciting. I think the conversation overall went really well. And then I think 2 months later, I just showed up. I think they said yes, I think the same week. And then I just showed up. And since then, yeah, I've been with them. This was in 2015. I think, yeah, 2015. 10 months into it, we got acquired by Gojek. I remember my manager like, no, I don't want to leave Pune. Like, let's keep Left Shift going and not move to Bangalore. But I think Abhineet and Sudhanshu did a good job of explaining it to us that where this might head. And then I think the entire company took a leap of faith. I think except for one, because of family reason, most of us moved to Bangalore and then we joined Gojek, and rest is history. We came in, it was a rocket ship. Sometimes I wonder if I was just lucky to be at the right place at the right time. And I think I very much am lucky to be at the right place at the right time. But yeah, man, a lot of pressure came in to be unicorn designers with this unicorn company. So we kept working hard and kept at it, kept building the best team and the best product. And yeah, here we are. I tried a bunch of things at Gojek. Like I tried troubling Abhinit, I'm bored with this product. Now what's next? Can we do branding? Can I do this? Can I get into design ops? So I've tried a bunch of things at Gojek. And yeah, today I work in the food and entertainment product design side of it. So yeah.
Great. So I think we'll have like a rapid fire round, which is actually, I have to revert it saying like double rapid fire round, because you anyways are so quick. Maybe like you have to.
Can I just tell me? I'll talk slowly.
No. It was perfectly all right. Perfectly fine.
We can fit more questions in that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Cool. So there are about 10 questions, and it's just that you don't have to think much. You have to just give whatever things, and Abhinit is making notes, so we'll circle back on those questions in detail as we go along.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good.
So what do you look for in a candidate more, which is aptitude or attitude?
I think attitude. Definitely attitude if I have to choose between the two.
Okay. Best way to take notes, pen and paper or keyboard and screen?
Keyboard and screen is efficient, but I feel pen and paper is more real as long as I don't lose my notebooks, which I do all the time. But I prefer the pen and the paper.
Okay. Actually, even because this was a nice question, I'll just chip in my 2 cents.
Yeah.
These days, I've started feeling keyboard and screen to be more friendlier. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the association.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of scary. Your favorite?
Yeah, it's just weird. I think growing up, I used to learn a lot by writing. So I think I think better when I write. So I mean, that's why personally writing works better for me. I'm yet to get fluent with the keyboard and thinking at the same time.
Yeah. Your favorite interview question?
What book are you reading? Then probably any initiative they did back in college. It was not a part of their course or assignment. I mean, I like to probably see how proactive they are and how much they value learning. So these 2 questions sort of solve that.
Right. What's more fun, communication design or whatever, brand design or product design?
Oh, it's a very hard question to answer. I don't think I have an answer for that. I think both equally. I aspire for there to be a team that sits right in between these 2 cohorts, which is brand marketing and product design. I feel there are certain companies like Spotify, they do it very well, where they use a lot of their product into their marketing and a lot of their brand into their product. So I think both are equally important. And personally, as a designer, I think both are equally close to me. I can't pick.
Okay. The best book you read last year?
Best book I read last year, I think Articulating Design Decisions was one of the best books I read last year. And also this one book on Stoicism that I read last year, which was the one that Abhinit had recommended me. I think that in general has helped me as a person to cope with a lot of problems. I mean, it's not a book that you read once and then you remember. It's a book I'm referring to again and again, which is it's still my favorite book.
Okay, nice. We'll put these in the show notes. What makes a great designer in one word?
I think a designer that looks at something and probably says that
one word.
One sentence I have.
No, one word.
I think why.
Why? Okay, interesting.
It's a question. I think why makes a really great designer. I mean, curiosity is the DNA of designers. If they don't have that, then
no. But why is so meta that it's actually why am I living type? That broad it is. Maybe designer specific, a bit narrow.
Okay, designer specific. Storyteller.
Okay, nice one. Favorite app?
Favorite app would be Graphy right now.
Okay. One thing you hate about design?
The fact that today, the fun thing that I hate more about design is the fact that I use Asana way more than Figma. That is annoying.
Okay. I was guessing that. Something to do with tickets or tokens, I was thinking. And the last one is team offsite or board games with team?
board games with team any day.
Okay, nice. So that's a Bangalore thing. Is it a Bangalore thing or a
I think
Pune
I've
thing?
been I think I've been pushing this agenda since left shift days. Probably the first week I showed up with Catan, and everyone just looked at me like, "Is she for real?"
Yeah, Catan is also one of my favorite. I mean, that's the only big, like a long,
Yeah.
long running game which I know. Yeah. All right, I think we are done with the rapid fire round, and thank you for that.
Alright.
I think we'll Abhineet, you have made notes and you are ready to. Are appraisals done?
Yes.
Yes. Appraisals are
Okay,
done.
so we can have free flowing conversation now. All right.
Cool. So let's start, Kiran. So
Yeah.
Fatima, the first thing we want to start with is we want you to recall how long you've been in design, although you've touched on it already. But more specifically, when was the first time you had to hire a designer? Can you think of it, and how was that like?
It was in 2017 or 2018, I think, somewhere late 2017, early 2018. I was working on a bunch of things, mainly in the food delivery. I was working on the merchant product. I was working on the consumer-facing product and the CMS. And at the time, was doing both UI, UX at the time. I think even we were trying to set up the entire UI team as a functional team and product team into products. And that's when I think in food, we did our first hire. Am I supposed to give out names or anything? I'm guessing not.
No.
Yeah.
But how was that feeling like? Hiring for the first time, did it feel intimidating?
Actually, it did. It did initially. So I think my main forte was, okay, this is the problem. This is the requirement. Let's solve the problem. Let's turn out designs and push it out for production. I did not understand the responsibility another hire came with, to be very honest. I just thought that the hire will do the exact same thing that I have been doing. Little did I know, and I realized later that it's probably also my job to, it's a good thing that someone is going to share the load with me, but it's my job to probably get them up to speed, mentor them, to also identify if they are enjoying what they are enjoying, or are they good at something else? Is their interest lie somewhere else? So I think my first hire was pretty good, but I think there was a gap in understanding of what I really wanted for the team, or how I should be as a manager, because it was my first time too. And what they ideally were looking for from the job and what they enjoyed doing, right? So I think the hire was pretty good, but I think there was sort of a mismatch in what they wanted and what we wanted. So I think that's what I can say about my first hire. So my first hire wasn't a very good experience, I would say, in the sense of me as a manager. I remember Abhineet walking up to me. So unfortunately, my first hire decided to just leave. And I was sitting, and I remember Abhineet walked up to me and said that, it's good that you're churning out great designs, but you will have to also start learning how to manage a team, So I still remember these words. We were the old office in Diamond District sitting and talking, and that's when it hit me and struck me that, yeah, man, if I'm actually starting a team, that doesn't matter if I'm a great designer. I also need to be a great leader, great manager as well. So yeah, that's about a little bit about my first hire. But I'm glad I made that mistake. I'm really glad I made that mistake.
Yeah, but if given like the same setup, would you change certain questions, or how has the format of questions changed, because you might be now evaluating from a different lens, right?
Oh, totally. I think overall, even in Gojek, right, I think our hiring process has evolved and matured over the years quite a bit. Like now, if you look at it, it's as precise as doing your research, right? Like every question asked by every person in the interview, everyone is aligned on, everyone is asking the same question, so that we are aligned on how we are assessing, what we are asking, what we are looking for. So right now it's much more formalized and matured. But okay, back then, I think even we were doing a bunch of iterations in the team itself. Like we were still thinking whether UI UX should be different, it should be same. So I think where the gap was, where what I needed was more of a UX designer for my team at the time, and I think the person who had joined was exceptionally good at UI, and probably that's where their interest lied. And I think there's a gap in me also understanding that is there a central UI team? Is that coming up? Should I keep them in that pod, or should I keep them in my product? So I think that bit was there, and this is like about 3 years ago. And I think right now the process really ensures that we are hiring at least for the right requirements. So that I don't think that mismatch has been an issue.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. And you said that now it's very precise. So if you can just slightly tell more about how does it work at Gojek? I mean,
Right.
does the HR create the pool? You have your own set of people. Do
Right.
you go headhunting on LinkedIn? Yeah, just a brief idea about how hiring happens at Gojek. Maybe from actually identifying someone from the pool, or maybe creating that pool and then identifying till you roll out the offer. If you can just give us like a snapshot.
Yeah. So, I mean, as long as the headcount is open, honestly, Kedar, I think all of us managers and leaders are at 11 a.m. chai looking on LinkedIn and Twitter who we can hire. So, I mean, that never stops. I think that is still very much a process today, wherein the hiring manager or the team leaders try and look for people for their teams. But taking a step back, let me just tell you how it essentially works. So you identify a need and then you raise a headcount. I'm going to start from that very beginning. You identify a need and then you raise the headcount. You get headcount approvals. It's also the team managers and the leaders' responsibility to get those approvals. Or, I mean, I honestly look at it as a way of storytelling as to why I need a designer. So I've tried to put all my design problem solving and storytelling in there. I remember writing a document also to open it on this once last year. So once that headcount request is approved, we formally open a position. Now, these can be filled by referrals, like the entire company can look at what positions are open, and if they think there is someone they know that fits well, or someone that I am looking for out on LinkedIn or Twitter, I put them in as referrals as well, or share their profiles with the HR. But a lot of pooling work HR also does. They create this pool of design portfolios. They get on a call with the hiring manager. Like, for example, let's say it's me in this case, to try and exactly understand what I am looking for. They will also look at a couple of portfolios with me to really understand that which I find are well fitted for the role. So that way they get an understanding of what we are looking for. So the chances of that mismatch has reduced a lot just on this particular step. So once we have shortlisted the portfolios, we do.
Sorry, Fatima, just one quick question. I think I got distracted for a second, but just wanted to understand how important is also to get the JD right along with the recruiting or the HR person, because this is one thing which I faced a lot in Book My Show, especially, that you need to get the JD very sharp.
Yeah.
Because people anyways don't read much and they just apply.
Yeah.
Even if you're asking for like a head of design, a lot of just pass out also apply, right? So how, like, you have any observations there?
So like you said, right, like I think no matter what's written in the JD, people just generally anyway apply. But how much as I remember, we do, the hiring managers and leaders, we do sit, and when we are raising a headcount request, we really write an elaborated document that states why we need this designer, what the expectation will be. So I think a lot of pieces in that JD are also taken from this, what we have written. But I mean, I think we can do as much as we can to get that JD precise. But like you said, there are a lot of people who apply regardless. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, that gap is still there, wherein you will look at a JD that will say that 15 years experience head of design, but there are still 4 years experience head of design people applying. So, like that, you can't really, not under your control. But yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So moving back, so once we have the portfolio shortlisted, then we do like a portfolio round. We think that it's always best to hear the designer talk about their work or walk us through their work. It says a lot about what they have done, not just the final product, but what they have done along the way. I mean, we try and create an atmosphere that, hey, we are your team. Like, we just like probably doing like a feedback round, or just like, trying to understand what you've done. So we try and ask them a lot of questions. We see how they're handling those questions. That goes to say a lot about their potential craft, potential egos, and a lot of things that come along the way. So after that portfolio round, depending on whether you are applying for an illustrator role, graphic design, product design, UI, we do a case study. Based on that, design ops generally don't have the case study step. we do that case study round, and then sometimes it's on site, sometimes it's take home assignments, and then we do an assessment on that. And then then there's a final round wherein we check them on culture fit and other things like that. But I think things like why they want to join Gojek and a bunch of other things, if their portfolio is valid to what they say, all that screening is already run by the people partner and the HR.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe in this series we should have, there is a plan to get a recruiter, but Abhinit, a pure design recruiter or hiring manager, or I would say HR person should join in, because in the past few years now, I've also given like random general chit chat with few people in Google, and they nicely set expectations even in a short call, right? First of all, they're on time.
Yeah.
Second, they nicely lay down like a 1 hour plan. Like first 15 minutes we'll do this first.
Yeah.
And it's great to get into that nuances. The way Fatima, you were saying, I thought we should just cut the clip of this and put it somewhere, because this is exactly a process which a lot of companies follow, and every time a person is going to talk about it, actually narrates this entire thing, depending on different companies in different areas. But very, very important that you articulated nicely.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like at Gojek, we've tried to make sure that there are actual designers sitting and building this design process even for hiring. So we have some of our best product and interaction designer now working in design ops, trying to formalize these processes and see how we can make them more efficient at scale.
Nice.
It's like, if you think about it, Kedar, it's very much a experience problem. Like the first question I always ask the candidates in the final round is, how was your interview experience so far? Right. Just to make sure that everybody responded to them on time. They had a great time chatting with the team. There wasn't any mismatch in what they were expecting versus what the role turned out to be. So I do think this is a experience design problem, and more designers taking control of this process or working very closely with recruiters in HR. That definitely helps.
Especially for everything craft,
So Fatima, next up is, let's talk about referrals for a bit.
Okay.
I've had a lot of conversations with people. I've had people go in as much extreme as saying that referrals is another form of nepotism, right? So I just want to know what your thoughts on referrals are. How important do you think are referrals for a design team to get talented designers?
So I personally think they are extremely, there's a positive in referrals, especially in the early stage when you're trying to build a cult in your design team or your entire product, right? At a higher level, when you turn from a cult into an organization, that obviously might be more, the needle might be more inclined towards inclusivity and diversity and stuff like that. But I think referrals do have a very positive impact. Firstly, they are extremely easy to get. You ideally trust your employees, and your employees also, you trust that your employees want your product to succeed. So they will only get people that they know are valuable to the company, people that who they think the company will be valuable to. So I think a lot of culture fit, which we also give so much importance to, gets covered in the referral bit, because these things are taken care of. I have personally seen, for example, when we were doing the branding project, right? It was a fast-paced project, although it took a while, but it was a fast-paced project. We were churning out things almost every week. And I think we had 3 new designers join the brand team when we were doing the rebrand project at Gojek. And I think the fact that all 3 of them, like Susie, Madhumai, Hashir, all 3 of them, they sort of came through referrals. Their onboarding was extremely quick. We could deliver things on time. They ramp up to what's needed. So I think, and I also think that worked because brand team was relatively a smaller team. So I think referrals do definitely work when you're, like I said, trying to form that cult. I am not sure how well do they work in bigger organizations. Yeah, if they don't come in the way of inclusivity, then yes, I think it is still a very good funnel to get employees that will be the right fit for your culture and will be quicker to get, will be quicker to onboard, and so on and so forth. So cost effective, time effective, plus,
Interesting. And what do you mean by inclusivity exactly?
So when I mean inclusivity, it could be based on ethnicity, it could be based on gender, it could be based on sexual preferences. So there could be a bunch of different things that you measure your inclusivity as. So Referrals are good, but obviously you have to keep in check that you are not building a all white men having scotch in the evening kind of a culture. You are also building a culture wherein there are people who probably want to go back home to families at 6 p.m. and they still can feel a part of the team even when they pack their bags and go back home at 6 p.m. So, I mean, that's what I mean by inclusivity. So it could be, a bunch of different things. Guys, please remove the racist thing if this sounds any racist at all.
It's okay, Fatima. Yeah, I think bunch of white men having scotch in the evening strikes a chord. It should be kept. It's not very racist at all.
Yeah. In fact, the next question was about that, about diversity. Like how, I mean, you almost said it, but it's a tricky one because now Gojek is sort of established. It's not a startup, right? So you have more time at hand. Abhinit is nodding, saying you don't have time, but maybe, my guess is that you might have time. But yeah, it's a conscious effort to find or to keep that balance of diversity or inclusivity, or you see that it organically happening. And this is a question extends to Abhinit also, because you guys are in the same setup. So yeah, I mean, anything?
Yeah, I would say it has happened for us organically, but at the same time, it does require conscious effort as well. So I would be lying if I wouldn't say that all of us have discussed back in our team sitting that, hey, why does our gender ratio look like this and what can we do about it, right? So we've had these conversations and some have spiraled into and snowballed into bigger debates, but overall, we are all taking conscious effort to make sure that we are keeping it balanced across the team. So,
Abhinit, actually, मैं starting में पूछना भूल गया, but if you want to bring that topic which we were having before the recording started about India having, what are these 90,000 designers? If you can share that, तो वो funnel ही अगर match नहीं हो रहा है.
So I was just extrapolating based on some data that. So I was looking up, people keep saying India has a huge IT sector, India has a huge IT sector. So one day I was looking up and it turns out India has at max about 4.5 million. Then I landed on this article which was saying that by 2021, India will need some 60,000 designers every year. And India is only producing 7,000. So that means India should have roughly 90,000 designers already. But when you start networking, and when you start seeing who the designers out there are, I can only find about 100 designers who I see everywhere. So I was just wondering where are the rest of the designers, right? And to bring the train back to the original question of diversity and is it a conscious effort? I think it has to be a conscious effort. It would happen organically, but then you look at just look at one particular aspect, which is, let's say, gender, right? And you look at the intake of design schools, right? You look at intake of engineering colleges in India. Even there, the picture isn't any rosier, right? So if you are waiting for it to happen organically, I think the chances are it won't happen. So it has to be a conscious effort. How do you go about that? There are a lot of ways to go about that, especially in teams where for roles where you can choose to wait a little. We've discussed things as extreme as, just saying that these are the roles which are, for a specific gender only, right? We'll wait for as long as we have to, but this is what we have to do. That said, gender is one aspect. Another aspect which worries me a lot is when I look at typical tech companies and engineering teams and design teams, it's all people from metros who are good at speaking English.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Very few people from 30 or 40 towns.
Yes.
So there's that diversity of thought that they bring, which is lacking in design teams as well. So I do think it takes a conscious effort. Organically, if you think it will happen, it won't.
So to answer your question, right, Abhinit, it's the pool of that 90 people that you see is, I think, essentially that referral pool. I think we need to essentially go beyond. That's where all the designers are. Designers who are not on Twitter, designers who probably can't even communicate properly in English. So I think that's where all the designers are. And I think some of these designers are still at that stage where they are understanding how design has matured and what it can do. So I think a lot of these designers are also engineers trying to figure out how to get into design. So yeah, or if design is their path. So I think, but again, they are not on Twitter, they are not out there, so it's hard for them to get these answers from other people.
इनफैक्ट कॉन्शियस एफर्ट डालना पड़ेगा कि ट्विटर पे है तो नहीं लेंगे, मतलब उल्टा.
that can also
might
work.
That might also work.
Yeah.
So one of the things in our design values at Gojek, there is this line that says, Abhin, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Don't confuse mastery with fame, or fame with mastery, something like that. Yes. So
fame with mastery.
Fame with mastery, yes. So I think this is just so true for whatever that we were discussing. So that it's very important to keep both of these different, but it's very hard for people to not look at the fame. I think that's one of the biggest hiring challenges, to keep aside the fame and to just look at the craftsmanship.
Yeah. I think if you consume the right content, I think that that thought process will go. Like, did you see The Disciple?
No.
Abhinit, The Disciple देखी?
Yes, sir.
चैतन्य तामा ने किया ये. हाँ, तो वो लीक का काम देखेंगे तो यार फेम कहाँ है, मतलब फिर तो I mean, fame shouldn't be in the picture for at least 30, 40, 50 years. Maybe classical music will give that sort of perspective to life, maybe. चलो anyway, तो वो एक अलग टॉपिक जाएगा. बट हाँ, सो फातिमा, लाइक ये थोड़ा सा न्यूएंस क्वेश्चन है कि पोर्टफोलियो में क्या देखते हो, लाइक व्हाट डू यू सी एंड व्हाई in a portfolio? Because to me na, again, I shouldn't be doing this, but थोड़ा सा है बीच में तो आता ही है rant कि सारे portfolios सब Behance pages same ही दिख रहे हैं. I sometimes wonder why people also write the color palette and the font they have used in an elaborate way as if they are representing a foundry. I don't know, like बहुत डिटेल में कुछ एक लिख देते हैं. तो कुछ ट्रेंड्स चल रहे हैं, कुछ
of being intentional in your design decisions. So everyone is explaining every decision that they are taking in their design decisions. Yeah, but I feel like, honestly, I think in a portfolio, right? Like you said, when you look at it, you will. I mean, there was this one point where everything was all visual, and we were all like probably looking at Dribbble and hiring. Then came this trend of, like you said, over-explaining every decision that we've taken. So, but I think for me, one of it's very important, first of all, that the designer has to be there probably when we are going through their portfolio. But one thing that can happen regardless of that is the idea that they are working on, or the problem that they have selected. I think that goes a lot to say about how well they've gone, how deep they've gone into identifying what the problem is, or how. So basically, that answers curiosity and observation, right? Like, is it an everyday thing or something that they saw and be like, why has no one solved for this? And then did they go ahead and solve for that? Or was it an observation or an insight that they had that they kept digging deeper to find out the right problem that they are solving? So I think the idea is one of the most important things when I'm looking at a portfolio that I'm seeing, that's to bana kya rahe, solve kya kar rahe, right? So just someone who's able to answer that. So I think that's one thing. The other thing is, I think that also covers a lot about some of the explaining that they do. The other thing is, I think very important for me that they're talking about the user's feelings at all, or emotions. A lot of times they just talk about what users are doing and what they are seeing, but they forget to talk about how they are feeling and how they want to emote the same feeling in their solutions, right? So I think this is where that little X factor comes from. Maybe this will eventually become a trend wherein everything is about emotions and feelings. But right now, I think that's one thing that I also look at. The other is whatever that they are turning out as solution, it doesn't probably have to be the best, but is it usable? Like, are they considering common?
Sorry to cut you, but यार ये emotion ये इतना nuance पे जाते हैं लोग, मतलब at least at. So I'm assuming you are hiring for mid to senior level people, or how, like मतलब वो context ही नहीं है हमारे पास, but still freshers वगैरह या 2 साल 3 साल के experience के लिए they wouldn't be going into that nuance, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think right now there is honestly so much content out there on how to build your design portfolio that most people have it. So I think so now it's very hard to look at a portfolio and be like, yeah, this dude knows, or this person knows, this girl knows all their shit, right? So I feel they are way too nuanced, the portfolios. I don't think they're not nuanced.
Okay.
So I think they're way too nuanced, but I think like everyone is using the right design processes the right steps. I mean, it took Gojek 2 years to identify what is the right process for design is like. So it's sometimes, I don't know. I think there is like how, dribble pe pehle hota tha, right? That you look at the designs, they might not be as functional, but you just look at it and they feel good and they are nice to look at. In the same way, I think even other portfolios are now sort of done to be a portfolio case study and not something that's probably they've actually gone back and done. So I think portfolio scanning mein designer ke bina, it's going to be very hard to judge a person just based on their portfolio.
No, but it also, like the first impression, how they lay down in a framework, right? There are different frameworks, the STAR framework and other frameworks where they just articulate their thought process in a way that it's easy to comprehend. ऐसे नहीं कि मतलब भर के screenshot से या भर के like whatever those, as हरीश ने बोला ना कि stickies का एक whiteboard लगा दिया, वैसा भी नहीं है. And yeah, so but yeah, like so
I prefer medium portfolios. I because I'm always hiring the product designers mainly over UI designers. I really prefer medium portfolios. I think I prefer reading over seeing screens because उसमें thought process बहुत ज़्यादा समझ आता है, right? That's not the energy is not spending on making the screens look good or sticky notes or their process look good, right? It's just plainly about writing. So, and I think when you're writing, you are trying to simplify the problem for yourself at such a basic level that so that you can storytell better. So I generally prefer medium portfolios over Behance portfolios. It could be because I'm only hiring for product designers. So completely from that bias perspective.
Okay. Hey, on that note, we'll be right back.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On a show about crypto, Rohan Joshi is joined by Ashish Singhal of CoinSwitch Kuber as they break down the blockchain. Marathi Kirkiton, our latest show, is all about Marathi culture, tradition, literature, cuisine, and more. To make your rainy day better, hear from Manik and Dr. Rajiv Deshmukh sharing their beautiful moments in this first episode. On Cyrus Says, Lakshmi joins us to talk about Splainer.in and the Press Decode podcast. On Press Decode, a discussion over sports and mental health, keeping in mind everything that's been going on recently. On Khailniti, check out the preview of the first test match. And on Shunya One, find out why Intuit India is amongst the best places to work. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any other show for that matter, please do tell a friend. Word of mouth is the best way to spread the word about a podcast you love. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, CEAT, Cred, Global Victoria, Bank of Baroda, Intuit India, and CoinSwitch Kuber.
Welcome back to the show.
All right, Fatima, now let's zoom out a bit, just from portfolios to a designer overall.
Yeah.
When you're hiring somebody, and I think you've given us some hints already in the previous answer. But as a designer, what are the top 2 or 3 qualities you look for that these are the must-have skills or qualities that this person should have that I can decide it'll be good working with them?
Yeah.
And a second question to that is, given the talent in the market right now, what do you think your success rate is? Like,
I will ask you what do you mean by success rate when I get to that question.
Sure.
And so to answer your question, what I value in terms of designers, I think number one for me, it's very, very important. I think the drive and the passion. I think that definitely has to be there. Someone once told me that you can wake up someone who's sleeping, but you can't really wake up someone who's pretending to sleep. Vinay, you can quote yourself on this. But so I think that drive is very, very important. I mean, drive talks a lot about how proactive can they be? Can the team trust them? So I think that's where drive and passion is very important. Second is craftsmanship, like I said. It doesn't mean being able to have like extremely pixel perfect solution, but just like curiosity, observation. And so these are like important things. Like, do they ask themselves that how are my users interacting with this? How are they feeling? Will it be a valuable solution for them and the business? So I think craftsmanship. So passion, drive, and craftsmanship. And then I think third is culture fit. I think culture fit is, extremely important too. To be very honest, I think at Gojek as well, we have been able to maintain the team that we've been able to maintain mainly because of also the culture. The culture wherein that allows us to fail. The culture that gives us enough opportunity, right? So in the same way for this designer as well, like will what they want to do align with what we want from them, right? And those little things, will they fit right onto the team? Like, will they be able to work with the team? Will the team be able to work with them? So, I mean, no matter what the product is, in the end of the day, the team isn't happy building things together. I mean, it's not going to be a successful team or a product. So, which is why, like, I think passion, drive, culture, and craftsmanship. So, I think 3 things that I would see while hiring a designer.
So the first thing is that some philosophical Indian Hindi quote, Fatima, that I was translating. It's not my quote. And then second thing is, I really like that one. And the second thing is, when I was asking success rate, I mean, so these are the things that you're looking for in designer, right? What's your feeling in terms of the number of designers that you talk to versus the number of designers that you manage to find these qualities in? Like, what's your outlook on this? Glass half full or glass half empty?
Glass half full, I think. Glass half full right now. At least, yeah, man. Whoever, I think I mean, at least
ठीक है, चलो
one
ठीक है,
out
glass
of,
half empty बोल दो, चलो ठीक है, let's start there then.
But yeah, my success rate in the terms of have I been able to find these 3 qualities in the designers that I've spoken to, I belong to that cult, and I belong to those reference of 90 designers, and like most of the people that I've spoken to, or let's say keeping them aside, whoever comes across and I'm hiring, I would say that I think 1 out of 6 designers you definitely see, or 1 out of 5 designers definitely see this in them. I mean, thoda kuch will be here and there, something somewhere for them, but then you ask yourself as a manager that will I be able to help this person in this other criteria and these other 2 match really well, right? So sometimes you will also take that little leap of faith by yourself that someone will really not check all the boxes, but probably they're so driven and they're so proactive that they will figure out craftsmanship by themselves. You know, they will be like, okay, I need to learn this, I need to ramp up myself on this, and they will figure that out. So I think I would not say 100% success rate, but there have been very valid trade-offs that I have been able to give between these 3 qualities. Yeah, so I think the problem essentially lies in finding designers. Like, I have been also talking to a lot of startups, right? And everyone is right now struggling to find that designer for themselves. So I think once they probably, I don't know, I'm going in circles. Sorry, guys, just break me and ask me something else.
It's okay.
Reiterate the question.
There's editing software for that.
Actually, have you gone in future, because the next guest who's going to be here, hopefully Vasudha, she's a design recruiter, and in her LinkedIn profile she has written 1 out of 5 designer gets hired. So the number which you mentioned, 1 out of 5 and 6, almost is similar to a recruiter. So I was just wondering, how did you get that number? Was it like there's so much, बहुत ज़्यादा connect hai.
Yeah, I just went to pass through the number of people I've spoken to versus hired in the last 2-3 years. So I think that is how I came up with my number. It's very anecdotal. I wouldn't want to go to my LinkedIn and post it. I'm not that confident in being a scale, but yes, very anecdotal from my perspective. This has been true.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So talking about Fatima startups and them struggling with finding designers, what do you think are the 2 biggest challenges we face while hiring designers? So one, I think you've already talked about, which is
the Twitter one.
Where are they? Twitter one, you just said like it's just difficult to find them, list them.
Yeah.
They don't apply or whatever. But any other challenges you think? What's difficult about hiring designers?
I think a lot of times these startups ideally probably don't even know what they are looking for, right? I think are they looking for a head of design right away, or does it make sense for them to get probably junior to mid-level designers to churn out their concepts, and then probably they either ramp themselves up or they then later get another designer once they hit a certain number. So I think for startups specifically, I think they really need to identify who they are looking for and why. Everyone is right now looking for a head of design, to be very honest. And sometimes I feel that, like if they just got like one product, one interface designer at a mid-level, they would be just fine. And they would not probably need a head of designer. So I think one is that. I think relooking at the expectations that they have from designers and from their design team, that is number 1. I think number 2 is a lot of people are not looking at people on their teams already. I think one thing that we could have even at Gojek very easily hired a lot of senior designers when we were reaching a certain scale really fast. But I think we also ideally stuck to who we can look at into the team we can help ramp up, or even if who we can't, like let's help everyone ramp up and take those opportunities and levels, right? So I think getting junior designers is easier, to be very honest. And like you said, I think everyone right now is looking for 6 years experience, 8 years experience, 10 years experience, 15 years experience. So I just feel that a lot of people should be okay with no experience. And that's where a lot of designers are also there. Probably they are not designers, they are engineers and they don't have design background. So they could also be that. So that's number 2. I think also go to engineering colleges and just talk about what design can do or what design is, and I'm not sure if the engineering curriculum right now talks about user experience or computer interaction design. I'm not sure if they bring that in, but by the time we reach that level where we can change the curriculum, ideally, I think it also lies on a lot of us to go and educate, give design education across India, so that people understand the value of design, even people who could be aspiring designers. So, yeah.
I really appreciate the drive and the passion that you are showing right now, because you almost went into solutioning.
Yes.
That's what can be done, which is great.
No, sorry.
No,
Yeah,
it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
No, because there are a lot of solutions which hopefully some bits get documented here. But the main idea was just to understand kya problem kya hai, right? Now, you also mentioned about, if I have to articulate, one is, where are these actually? And the second is, if they are, then are they skilled enough, or are they mature enough? Are they driven enough? Is that...
I think drive is what matters. To be very honest, I had no UI UX design skill when I started on UI UX design. I have learned everything on the job. And so I think it's very personal to me that, according to me, I don't think skill is as important as drive and passion is. I think that's way more important. And that has, I think, personally worked out in my case, in all my colleagues at Gojek as well. I don't think any of us were mature designers when we started. I think, but yeah, I think a lot has to also be thankful. We are really thankful to Abhinit for that. You ideally also need to have a lot of time to mentor these designers who are coming in. So yeah.
And you also mentioned about they don't know exactly what they want. They want to be head of design, or they want to just shadow someone for some more time. So if I have to ask you, what sort of, like, from the people who have interviewed so far, what do you think are their aspirations, or what were your aspirations maybe, like when you started, or at this point in time, you are like the right person at this mid to senior to a lead level position, right? So like, you can speak for yourself or your observations about what are the aspirations at this stage of the career.
Oh, what do you mean by aspirations? Like career aspirations?
हाँ, generally मतलब it could be anything. इसलिए तो tangent जाने के लिए बोला था अभिनीत कि like ESOP चाहिए कि Apple जैसा interaction बनाना है कि पता नहीं data RAM जैसे like 40 साल एक ही जगह रह के detailing करना है. I don't know. Yeah, it could be any direction.
Yeah, so you're asking what my aspiration is right now.
Yours and what do you think the aspirations of the designers in general?
I think UX designers in general, I think there is so much in terms of, I think tech is not yet there, right? Like when you look at other product companies or traditional industrial design product companies, they are already established and they are there at a very high scale, you can predict where it's going, right? I think with tech, people are still figuring out how sustainable products really work. Like, will Gojek still be there 10 years from now? Or will any other company still be 10 years from now? Will there be another smarter, intelligent solution to the same problem that we are solving, right? So it's very hard to say that any of us right now are thinking about, okay, the next 20 years are going to be at this place, right? However, a lot of us are thinking about building products from the start. So I am personally also thinking a lot about, okay, if I ask myself, like, what do I want to do? So there are two answers that come to me. One is get into the depth of just probably taking up an IC role and being a designer, probably at a bigger company where you're learning from other mature designers, or you go to a startup and probably build that product 0 to 1. So I think a lot of designers, especially who are at the same level as me, are struggling with the same question. And I think, again, to each its own in this as well. Some designers are also designers who want to eventually start their own company. So those designers are starting, taking up, their aspirations are more like going and working at a startup and building a 0 to 1 from scratch so that they can call their product that their own baby, this and that, right? So I think there are some designers there. And there are some designers who really, it is not as driven or passionate about the product, but it is more stuff driven about their craft, that they want to learn that and that from the other designers. And those are the designers that are choosing a more mature organization, very well-established organization, wherein they don't have to worry about, hey, we need this much budget for research. They don't have to worry about, hey, we need this much budget for hiring, or this is what we need to do for hiring. All they're doing is concentrating on their craft. So in terms of my aspirations right now, I think I am also very much trying to figure out what's next for me. I am very inclined towards a 0 to 1, wherein I can probably a 0 to 1 with an extremely different target audience, I would say. I think that's what I'm really craving for. I think as a designer, I'm curious about what it's to design for, like you guys were talking about it earlier, right? Like a first world country, or what is it to design for a company that has put all their budgets on user experience and marketing and brand and stuff like that, right? So I
luxury brand.
Luxury brands, maybe you can call them luxury brands, or maybe like brands that are trying to do something with technology, but again, luxury brands, right? So right now that's where I am, because I'm really craving for designing for a different set of users. And like I also mentioned, right, like I want to really find myself in that place between brand and product. And I am really aspiring to figure out where can I go build that, or what company's already done that and I can do that. It could be probably I build that at Gojek. So we don't know, but that's what I want to do. Abhinan, that's your cue.
I'm trying my best. But okay, Fatima. So thanks a lot for going through all these questions with us. We have one last question, which is kind of specially for you. And you've talked about this multiple times, multiple answers. I'm really passionate about brand design as well. And I know you are as well. If you had to tell all the product designers out there, right? Because you're saying that companies, you really love the intersection of brand design and product design, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I do as well. But what do the product designers who are listening to this podcast, what should they know about brand design so they can, wanting to stand at the intersection is one thing.
Yes.
But what do you need to know to create that intersection for you?
Okay. What do you mean by what do you need to know? So I would say that, what do you mean by what do you need to know?
Okay, let me rephrase. So for all the product designers listening to this podcast, what should they know about brand design? Where can they go and learn more about brand design? And why should they know more about brand design? Or care more?
Okay. So I think brand design is sort of the entire foundation of your brand personality. Let's say, for example, at some place there's an error, there is no network, or there's some place there is a success message, right? How you frame that message, or how you make that user feel when they're going through your flow. Does it resonate the same values that your brand resonate? That's very, very important for the entire end-to-end user experience to really tie together. That's from the product side. From the marketing side, why do we only talk about promos and discounts? Why aren't we going out there and talking about, hey, our product is so easy to use. Hey, this is what the benefit that you get with our product, aside from the promos and the discounts that we are trying to promote, right? So, or our service, whatever way that we want to sell it. So, and I think, man, too, like, I think there have been some good brands, like Uber has built a great brand system, Spotify, Slack, a lot of Dropbox, a lot of people, a lot of products have built this great marriage between brand and product, and they have a lot of content on their blogs already that we can probably go and read and look at what they've done with their brand system, how they've married that to their design language system on their product. So, if you look at even Gojek's example, right? Like at one point, there is only so much we could do with the logos and the icons for each product that we had back in the day. We as product designers, we had to go back and be like, hey, we need to fix the brand so that we can come back and fix our main output, which is our product. So that we come back and fix the product and make that function better and that look better. So I think, which is why it's very important for product designers to also understand brand. For example, right now in GoFood as well, how those promo banners mainly come on GoFood, right? How they look, what they make them feel like. A lot of product designers really ignore the promotional banners and those designs that they come onto their product, but they understand brand. If there is a seamless marriage between brand and product, I think every promo asset design will resonate with every UI component that's there on that screen, and that understanding of that page from the information architecture to the way it looks, I think it will be way more seamless. So especially now that everyone is getting into ads. So yeah.
Definitely, you guys have more time. Abhineet, you can't say no, because I completely felt at home when Fatima spoke about this, because although it got sold and not a very great thing about ClearTrip, which happened recently, but in ClearTrip we had this sort of a environment, this sort of a setup where we never had any traditional marketing. We always had product marketing. So be it launching like one-click bookings through Expressway, we designed the marketing page. We made sure the brand is made by us. All the touch points were designed by like the same set of designers who were actually building and doing the HTML part of it also. And it's not just with Expressway, but bunch of all things, which is collections, weekend getaways, Small World. We had like some 8 or 10 different products which got shelved eventually. And I don't know, maybe in hindsight, it means that we needed a marketing person, or I don't know, but I get what you're saying. But the question is, doesn't product marketing do that job? So what is, if you can say, what is different between product marketing and brand design?
So yeah, Abhineet, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so Kedar, different companies do it different ways. What you call it within a company, whether you call it brand design or product marketing, that depends on a lot of factors. I think what Fatima is saying and what you also said was that product designers, they should not think that this part of your design of your product is somebody else's responsibility.
Yeah.
Right. They should be involved in it. Yeah. I think Seth Godin has written about this a lot. That marketing and product should be all in, one and the same.
Yes.
So without going into that, what do you call it? How do you structure your teams?
Yeah.
The idea is that designer should be involved.
Yeah.
What is the value proposition of the product is something a product designer is supposed to figure out with the business folks early on, right?
Yeah.
And that should tie into when your product finally launches on the day. What is the value proposition being communicated to the customer? Yeah. So you have to be involved.
And I think only I think only then and then when we can say that we are designing end-to-end experiences. Only then and then we can say that it's not just product that we're designing, it's the entire service, it's the entire sort of communication that we are the entire experience. Yes,
but yaar bahut tough hai yaar, kyunki na like I'm recently hiring one person, and actually jo product manager tha wo aake bola yaar iska JD na ye koi Akash hai na from Zomato, Adarsh or Akash, I don't know, उस टाइप का जेडी चाहिए. मतलब what he does, वो हम like we want that sort of a person. अक्षर पाठक. Sorry, I missed his name. हाँ, वो like वो ही चाहिए. We have an
अक्षर पाठक in Gojek.
And I said, हाँ ठीक है, मतलब I know, I forgot his name, but I know his work and I've seen like, so we are looking for some resumes and I interviewed few people, and I said कि यार एक Instagram का carousel बनाना है, तो ब्रीफ दी जाएगी, कैन यू डिजाइन? बोला हाँ, आई विल डिजाइन. इनफैक्ट आई कैन डिजाइन अप टू 9 carousels and whatever, like some random stuff. मतलब डिजाइन मतलब तुम ब्रीफ पे कर लोगे काम? बोला हाँ, मतलब कॉपी देंगे तो कर लेंगे. बोला नहीं यार, that is where the difference is ना. मतलब what are you doing exactly then? मतलब so that is at a very nuanced level. वही हो रहा है कि someone gives copy, there's a UX writer, there's a copywriter, and I don't see that happening in the future. Either the person needs good communication skills and there is peer review for typo and grammar check. Yeah. But main idea.
It's not just about the designer themselves knowing how to do. The designer just knowing that it's important. So even if you're building a team, like to have a UX writer does actually make a difference, right?
Like being involved, right?
Yeah, being involved.
When you go to design a feature, Kedar, right? Let's say you were talking about express checkout, right? The product designers will go and talk to customers. They will sit and talk to business. How will you make money on this? They will sit with product managers and figure out how will we know we are successful? What are the metrics we should keep an eye on? Then if you, what traditionally happens in companies is then if you put, okay, our work is done now, right? And then hand all of that over to another team, which is called product marketing or whatever, right? That is the wrong way of doing things, because all those insights from customers, all those discussions, all that knowledge, that gets lost or needs to be transferred to this other team. So that's what we're saying. Like, it doesn't matter what department that JD sits in. All of the people responsible from end to end should be one team.
Exactly. Especially if you are experienced designer. I mean, that's the idea. The
Yeah.
end-to-end experience.
Yeah, because the CEO talked to the team and said express checkout would be amazing for us. We need to be the fastest travel booking website ever, right? That's the vision.
Yeah.
You check with customers, do they care about being 5 seconds faster or not? Turns out they are, right? While you have that conversation, they realize what is the value of fast, how do you communicate it better to them? So if you then hire a marketing designer, just give them a brief. I think that's inferior. If you keep the same designer involved with the same team, you'll get superior results.
Absolutely. नहीं, there's no two thoughts or I have nothing to comment. ये मतलब बहुत ही bang on तरीका है. मतलब यही reason भी है ना, Jonathan Ive क्यों आवाज देता रहेगा? मतलब they are better like voice artists in the world than him.
Yeah.
But there's a thought behind it. Yeah.
There's a thought behind it. Or Amazon to, I don't know why companies don't think about it, Kedar. Like Amazon to is a famous company which starts their product lines with writing press releases. Right? Today is 1st August and we are happy to announce blah 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 feature to our customers and this is the value prop. They write that first and then work backwards from it. Right?
I think Uber also does it.
Yeah.
But unka A/B testing everybody steals, but these processes nobody steals.
Yeah. So, all right. I think we are done with the questions. You want to conclude, Fatima, with anything?
No, I don't have anything.
A shout out to any of other members or any tip you want to give to upcoming
designers
whom you are spotting, whom you are like looking for.
I don't know. I think for new designers, I think don't go behind too much about what is the ideal way to present your portfolios, I would say. That's one thing that I think there's a lot of digital ink that has been already put on this. That's what is the best way to design portfolios. So I think don't bang your head too much on the process, but just get that idea right, like I was mentioning. I think the other is, I think to keep learning, keep reading. I think that's what's got me so far, is to keep learning and keep reading. So I think books are very, very important. So probably I think that's the only piece of advice that I have to give.
Please ping me both the book links so that I can put in the show notes.
Yes, I will do that.
I think, thanks for listening, everyone, till the end. Currently, I'm heading the design at Jupiter.money and we are hiring at all levels. So visit jupiter.money/careers. You can follow AudioGyan on Instagram at AudioGyan Moments or visit audiogan.com for more GAN sessions. This series will be out every Wednesday, same schedule. You guys want to plug anything? As usual, Abhinit Gojek is hiring, I'm sure.
So for everybody listening, please go and follow Gojek Design at Gojek Design on Twitter. We do hire from time to time. If there are any openings, we post it there.
Okay, and Fatima, you same plug?
Yeah, exactly the same plug. Yes, please. So we are the Gojek Design team. Please follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. We have really fun stuff. We are posting almost on a daily basis. So yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Abhinit, and thanks.
See you at the social media, guys.
I don't care for my follower count, but I care for Gojek Design's follower count a lot.
That's too much driven and passion. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being on the show. And looking forward for more catch-ups like these moving.
Yeah, guys, absolutely. Great chat. Thanks for having me. I think it was a fun conversation. We should definitely chat more on the brand and the product design bit. I think very interesting. I don't know if I get more ideas on what we can do and how we can do this at Gojek as well. So, yeah.
Sure. Chalo. ठीक है. Thank you, Fatima. Thank you, Abhinit.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. I'll
Thanks a
drop
lot.
off there. Bye.
And that's it from today's Gyan session. For show notes and more Gyan, visit audiogyan.com. If you like this podcast, please don't forget to check our other interesting podcast on IVM Network. You can listen to us on IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or any of your favorite podcasting apps. To stay tuned, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at IVM Podcast. And if you wish to connect with me, I am at AudioGyan Moments on Instagram. Until then, take care.
Namaste, this is Cyrus Brocha. I am part of the government cancel culture program to remove rubbish off all the different streams available. So what we have is all the collected rubbish we put together on our show. It's called Cyrus Says. It's on IVM Podcast. You have to watch it and listen to it. It's on our app. It's on our website. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on Facebook. There are many different ways. Don't bother me and ask me how. You have to find out. We talk to different personalities. Many of them are known. Some are just people we meet downstairs and invite them up for chai. But the point is, it's fun and it's very therapeutic. So please join in and listen to Cyrus Says.
Hi, I'm Zarina Poonawalla, host of the Empowering Series podcast on the IVM Network. I happen to be a peak performance coach and leadership coach by profession, and I'm here to share with you productivity tools, life-altering techniques, and real-life hacks to help you achieve your maximum potential in everything you do, your relationships, professions, careers. So tune in every Monday to unleash your inner power. Be safe, be well, be empowered.